So we got a Supreme Court decision today. I haven't talked about it yet, but this was involving misinformation in social media. Now, what was going on during the pandemic was there was a whole bunch of bad information being spread, including about the virus, about ways to cure the virus. You might remember people were taking ivermectin, and at one point there was talk about injecting disinfectant and some other really weird cures that somebody would say, oh, this treats it or this prevents it. Or when the vaccine came out, there was stuff like, oh, it makes you magnetic or whatever. So the government, took their data, like the CDC would go to them and say, hey, look, this is what's going on. They'd go to, social media companies and say, look, this is what the posts we're seeing. This is why they're wrong. This is what could happen if you keep them up. And, you know, we just thought you should have this information. And the companies looked at it and went, oh, this is bad. Some very bad things could happen if we don't label this as misinformation, if we don't fact check this stuff, or if we don't just take the posts down completely. So they made the decisions, each of these companies did, to take the stuff down or label it as misinformation, whatever decision they chose. Well, some people didn't like it. They sued and said the government was interfering on free speech. And the Supreme Court today said, no, they're not. The government was within their rights to do this because ultimately the decision was made independently by these private companies. The government, in this case, the Biden administration, did not go to Facebook or TikTok or whatever social media platform you choose and say, take these posts down or we're going to fine you, take them down or we're going to arrest you. Anything like that. They didn't do any of that. They just said, hey, these are the potential risks to people's health if you continue to leave them up. And these companies took a look at their information and said, oh, okay, that's bad, and took the posts down, labeled them, whatever they did. Supreme Court said that's perfectly fine. Where the issue would have been is if, like I said, if they would have gone in and said, well, if you don't take them down, we're arresting you, that would be infringing on speech. Private companies are not bound by the First Amendment. It's no different than somebody's boss saying, hey, we don't want you to swear while you're on the clock, and you start dropping swear words, and they fire you for it. Your First Amendment rights stopped the minute you got paid, the minute you clocked in. Same situation with these social media companies. When you log into their program, their platform, you are bound by whatever rules and requirements they put forward. And if they say, we're not going to allow misinformation or bad information about COVID based on information we've been given by the CDC, by the Attorney General, what have you, that's up to them. They make their own decisions. It is not a violation of the First Amendment for a private company to have repercussions, to have consequences for speech. Never has been, probably never will be.